All right, welcome back to the first, the last, the Nerdom, the podcast, the podcast where we chew the cud of nerd culture, sheer away the nonsense, and flock straight to the weirdest corners of cinema. And this month we're still grazing through Zombie Month, where the dead don't just walk; sometimes they bah. This week we're going we'll tilt into the 2006 New Zealand horror comedy Black Sheep. It's a film that proves not all monsters go bump in the night. Some just bleat in the pasture before tearing you limb from limb. Forget brain hungry zombies, because here it's the sheep that are flocking to feast. And you better believe things get bloody fast. We'll be talking about the sheer insanity of its over the top gore, its lamb-basted humor, and why this oddball cult classic is still utterly unforgettable in the world of zombie cinema. So grab your gum boots, don't get caught wool gathering, and remember, in New Zealand, even the livestock can be out for your flesh. This week on the first Last Nerdom, Zombie Month continues with the brilliant and unique chaos of Black Sheep. I hope I didn't run too many people away with my puns, Mike, but I'm Tom, and we're the first to last
Yep,
Nerdom.
no, you were perfectly punny. So, but before we get too further along, I want to speed through this real quick. We are the first last nerdom. This is our home, FirstLastNerdom.com. You can go there and check out our last 10 latest on a never ending carousel. Whenever we push out a new one, a little bio and a little bit of some of the links and whatnot at the very bottom of the page for us. Very simple web page. As always, home. Always has been and will be YouTube for the foreseeable future, where we are climbing our way to 300 films, or 300 videos, excuse me, 300 videos. We're getting there, and I think it'll be interesting to see when we hit that. But I'm sure I could do the math. But either way, November 7th, our fourth year. I keep thinking that it's later than I keep adding a year, I guess. Anyway, but with that being said, it'll be 4 years for us, right, Tom? On November 7th, coming up. So
Yep.
so
Yeah.
keep your eyes peeled. It's a Friday, Saturday. We might do a little live special. We'll see. But in any case, what's going on here with the Reddit and the social medias? I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, you could find me on social media under First Last Nerdum. I troll the Reddits and find different subreddits to promote our stuff. Some will have us, some won't. Some are snarky, some are welcoming with open arms. So if you're coming over from Reddit, thanks for checking us out, and don't be too mean to us. But we do appreciate criticism. So yeah, but yeah, I'm there, and I'm also on X, where I promote our stuff as well. If you want to know when our latest videos are out, you'll be up to date through that. Also, I post little random things. I found a band that likes to dress up in black metal and sing 80s and 70s songs. They do a cover. I think they're called Royal Republic, and the song I posted was "Staying Alive." So if sounds like something you might be interested, check that out. But you're on the socials as well.
I am ApeIt_Inc. Also on X. Catch a conversation or two, and me and Tom coordinate once in a while, or ping each other. Sometimes it gets fun. It's been a minute since we've talked, but there's just we tend to hold back for the not a lot going on. Of course, Superman debuted this last weekend on HBO Max, so you should go check that out. And then maybe check out our what we said about it or what we didn't say about it. With that, also I'm on co-host the Sunday news show on Stepping to Cafe Americana. I resumed. I was out for a week or so, but I came back in. Also, I'm available on ApeIt.Ink, where you can find long form content, kind of, sort of stuff like that. But as always, FirstLastNerdom.com. But this, as you alluded to, we are covering this week's Zombie Month, second movie in the Zombie Month series for us.
Hmm.
It is the 2006 movie, Black Sheep. Wow.
So you
What?
were new to this. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah. I
it.
figured you were. I figure like most of these are. So this thing is a New Zealand comedy,
Mhm,
horror comedy. Definitely
mhm.
doesn't take itself too seriously, tongue in cheek. Definitely no shortage of gore. Very unique ways of scaring folks with sheep. Uh, but here we are. So tell us the tale of the. uh,
Yeah. So yeah, it came out in the mid to late 2000s. Filmed in 2006. I believe it came out in 2006 in New Zealand, but it didn't make
right.
its way over to the States until 2007. And I forgot, but when my research material, I found that it was actually released out into the theaters in America, which I didn't get to see it in the theaters, but yeah, I'd heard about this movie. I forget where. It must have been like Fangoria magazine, or maybe I don't know if that was still published or maybe online. But the fact that Weta Workshop actually worked on the special effects, we'll get into that a little bit more later. But yeah, that probably that is from New Zealand. You got the legacy of Peter Jackson. It was on my radar to see, so when it came out on DVD, I snatched it up. I loved it when I first saw it. I absolutely loved it. And it's one of those that it stays in the back of your mind. You may sort of forget about it, but yeah, as soon as someone mentions it, it's like, oh yeah, I love that movie. So when I was kind of scrolling through Tubi like a year and a half ago, I saw that they had it, and I was very excited. I was like, "Oh my God, we got to cover this for the show." Definitely. And then I heard that Umbrella was doing a physical 4K release. 4K, can you believe it? Of Black Sheep. I was like, okay, well, we'll wait till that comes out and cover it then. But yeah, it's one of those movies that I didn't know I needed to cover, but I knew I needed to cover it as soon as it came back up on my radar.
Yeah, I had never seen this before. It was we've done enough of these for me to kind of expect, the unexpected. I'll put it that way.
Uh,
This one was funny. It was very interesting. Didn't I don't know. It was just it was. It's kind of a weird movie. It's not really. I mean, it's got plenty of gore and things and stuff like that, but it doesn't really have like the gravity of some other horror films. I'll put it that way. That like
mhm,
do even if they might be absurd. And I think we did a patch of them last year or the last couple of years, mainly Halloween focused, but also having to do with a little bit of Christmas. I can't
mhm.
remember that. Oh my
So
goodness.
Krampus, yeah,
Yeah, the
we did
Krampus.
a
That's
few of
what it
them.
was. That's what it was. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the
yeah.
Krampus one that had that little bit more. That one you took a little bit more
Mhm.
seriously than I think this one is. It's just
Yeah.
more interesting. But it gets away with it in some parts. Doesn't get
Mhm.
away with everything. Sometimes it can get a little long, but for the
Yeah,
most part,
cracking open my monster here.
absolutely. Yeah, the boomer juice there. Um, um,
Yeah, it's not to get too far away from it to kind of set it up. So it's a at the heart of it, it's a family drama. A heartwarming family drama about two brothers, estranged brothers. No, no, it's basically about yeah, two brothers. One stayed on the farm. One left a trauma. His their father dies tragically, and it causes the younger brother to have a fear of sheep, and so he goes off to the city, gets an IT job, and but he has to come back because he's selling off his portion of the farm, and so that in that yeah, but his older brother is genetically engineering a new form of sheep, and surprise, it horribly goes wrong, and so the mayhem ensues. So that's the basic setup, and I gotta say, oh, let's talk, not going too far away. I gave you the link of it, but the physical media Black Sheep on 4K. Beautiful, beautiful. The wool. It's fun to touch the wool casing of the 4K, but in
Oh,
the
go ahead and put
special
it back up.
edition of it.
Yeah, so
Sorry. Yep.
it took me a minute to hear. Yeah,
Yeah, to
that's awesome.
yep, and then you got the blood splatter. But yeah, and then on the 4K itself, you got the slip cover. I don't know if you could tell, but like the individual eyes are kind of highlighted on these to make it look really cool. But and you also the 4K, and you get the 4K and the Blu-ray as well. And then also you get a nice little book with a crack this open and find some of the cool. They got like a lot of the artwork in here from the movie. And then, of course it's Weta, so they did a lot of really um cool art designs on it. You got a lot of like really cool stuff like behind the scenes pictures and whatnot. And then a lot of the storyboards, the director was in it. And then also you've got some articles in there. But yeah, really cool little book. But yeah, if you put up that link again, it's through Umbrella Entertainment. They're Australian boutique physical media outlet. I've ordered from them several times now. I got my Terrorizer box set from them. It takes of course, they're in Australia, so it takes a little bit of a time to get to you once you order it. And if you order so much, I kind of stack up my orders until it hits that magical number where it's free shipping, which I think is like 140. And like this special edition set is sort of like the mid set. It's $70 US. There's the if you just want the 4K of it, it's like $40,
Mm.
and then the extra special edition with the T-shirt right there. If you see that toward the fourth one over, if you wanted the T-shirt, it's like 100 and something dollar, 110, I think. So yeah, kind of price it to however you want. But yeah, there's the just the 4K for 40. I think it's $41. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming up. Maybe stuff that we might cover in the future. But yeah, a really cool box set if you're into the physical media. Again, and then so you probably saw it on Tubi or somewhere else of that nature. Tubi's a great place. We advertise on Tubi on Reddit. They have a lot of cool
It was
movies, but
everywhere. Yeah.
the resolution, if that's something that matters to you, that resolution on 2B is about 720p if you're if you're running it on your computer. So you're not getting the crisp clear. Now this is on 4K. I have to say,
Full fidelity.
beautiful transfer of this on 4K. Just watching those, there's the opening scene, which is sort of like a flashback to when the boys were kids. And you've got like 800. The director said there's like 800 sheep that they're kind of steering around, and it's just kind of a beautiful pastoral New Zealand landscape where they're getting you introduced to the characters as children, and just beautiful. And the movie, just because it's shot in New Zealand and you got those beautiful landscapes in New Zealand, it adds like $1 million to the movie. It makes it, this is a small kind of indie horror movie, but yeah, it looks amazing from scene to scene, and the 4K really shows it off.
Yeah, no, I mean the quality was fine. I could see where you would get a much better quality product, in person. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. I actually, they have it actually. If I go here, I can click on this. I gotta move my window right
Hmm.
there. Yeah, it's actually Plex Tubi. But we
Hmm.
always we tend to recommend Tubi like just about every other
Hmm.
show, just
Yeah.
because it's free and it's
Yeah.
free and it has some very interesting. It definitely gets interesting stuff that you're not going to see probably anywhere else.
Yeah.
Now, do you
Yeah.
want to see
Yeah.
that stuff? That's another question. But I
Yeah, they have a they're not there's not like they're not gatekeeping. There's a they let a lot of stuff in there. Some good, some bad. That's why we're here. Their job is not to tell you what to watch. They're just supposed to provide it. We're here to kind of help guide your hand, especially with the horror, the weird, the bizarre, is sort of like my side of things. Mike is more kind of on the sci-fi side of things,
Yep.
and but yeah, hopefully you trust us at this point, and we can kind of get you through these things. And then yes, this movie is on the crazy side. Now some people have kind of criticized it that maybe it doesn't go too far, which there it's definitely weighted on the side of comedy as opposed to horror. There's never a time whenever I feel like I'm never like clenching my popcorn going, oh no, what's gonna
Right.
happen next. It's always that was the DVD that came out that I had the cover of. That's very memorable to
Iconic. Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was how I knew it. But yeah, that's I love the characters in this. There's a lot of I don't know if there's any named actors from New Zealand in it, but a lot of probably fresh faces, probably first movies. I know that the main star of it, he was it was his first film. And I think a
I
lot of
think.
them that was their first film.
Yeah, I kind of got that some of these when I looked up their background, they had also been in. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing, computer? Sorry. Was doing something here, and I don't know what it was doing, but I don't like it. I don't want it to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, I noticed that they did Smog, Desolation of Smog, from the couple of the what was her name? Danielle Mason, and then I think I can't see her.
Yep.
But anyway, they had some of them had. I'll pull her thing up, her casting up, and it was like um anyway. So they had like looked like they were like pretty well knownish, like New Zealand actors and actresses anyway, that they kind of tapped in, because there's only so many people in New Zealand to play at that level. But I didn't get into it was very pretty good acting from what I got, um, and by far for the most part everything worked. But again, like you said it perfect. It's more of a comedy. It presents itself as a comedy with kind of like some disgusting horror elements. That
Yeah.
are very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. The on the physical media, there's a lot of the 4K. There's a couple of commentaries, one by the director and the main actor, Nathan Meister is the actor that plays Henry Oldfield, and then Jonathan King, he's the director. But there's a commentary by them together from the DVD, the original DVD. There's a special audio commentary by a couple of film critics. They have a lot of fun kind of going through it. That's new to it. There's like a new interview with the director, Jonathan King, and then a lot of the old stuff from the DVD, like deleted scenes, bloopers, behind the scenes stuff. There's a couple of old documentaries and interviews which are fun to go through. But I think the most fun I had was there's a little it's 2000s, so there was a 2007 Australian show. I don't know, it was probably on TV or online, or it's just these couple of nerds doing a little show, 30-minute show. I think it was called the Polaris Project or something. But it was sort of like a capsule of nerdy cringe culture from the 2000s. If you remember that, sort of like that G4 kind of comedy and
Oh
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
where they're kind of going over
Right.
sort of like the nerd stuff of the day, and they left all that in. They included that with the interview with the director, so it was sort of like a nice time capsule. They actually, one of the nerds was doing the news and little news segment, and they were discussing George Lucas had just then registered the copyright for 6 different Indiana Jones titles for the next Indiana Jones movie.
Right.
And they were kind of going through and trying to decide which one was going to be the actual title. And they just skipped over the Crystal Skull one. And they were going, I think it's going to be the City of God. That's the running bet on it.
Oh,
And so
that's
it was kind of cool to see that little thing in there
that is cool.
as well. I love that kind of stuff, that little kind of archival nerdy stuff.
That is cool. Yeah, speaking of that, I was trying to find because I read a lot of this stuff from the Plex movie page, little
Mhm,
history page of Tandy Wright,
uh-huh,
which I
uh-huh,
just wanted to kind of call it that she was in Pearl. Very
mhm,
fun,
yeah,
in some other ones here too. But
uh-huh,
going back to the Daniel Mason, I think she had. Oh man,
different, yeah.
I don't know why I thought that they were in the last, like the Hobbit, with the dragon.
Well,
But I
there is
what
a
so
lot of mhm, go ahead.
anyway, go on. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of ties to Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, because Weta Workshop, the and also a lot of the crew from this movie are kind of Peter Jackson's mainstays. In New Zealand, obviously Peter Jackson's like a movie company in and of himself, sort of like a movie industry. They had just Weta had just finished the Lord of the Rings movies, because remember it's 2000, the 2000s, and King Kong. So they were coming off of King Kong. The writer director Jonathan King, this is his first movie. He had previously done some music videos and different things like that. But he was kind of, him and a producer was kind of shopping around this movie, and it got to the Weta Workshop, and one of the guys from that read it and fell in love with the script. He said he was dying laughing during reading it, and so he desperately wanted to do it. So yeah, I'm sure they did it kind of on the cheap for them. So the special effects, they kind of discussed whether you would do it digitally or physically, and digital was way out of their price range. So they kind of went with physical, which is perfect for this movie. It's kind of, it's not real, these these zombie sheep and were sheep people, that but the fact that it's physical, and I think that works with it, because some people call this kind of a um what was it, splat stick, sort of
Hmm.
a splatter movie, but with slapstick elements. So the fact that it's a physical stuff that you're fighting against and stuff, it kind of works well for this movie, where if it had the 2000s CGI, it would have aged it way past its prime. It wouldn't, it wouldn't be what it is today without that physical stuff. And I think the fact that Weta Workshop,
Hmm.
and then that crew from that, that was like the perfect kiss for the writer director. I mean, what better hands to be in than these experienced people? So I'm sure it was very, very helpful having that experience on the set, for a first time director, to have all of that. But yeah, all of the love, of the dedication really shows in this this movie. It's a silly, silly, silly comedy,
Right.
black comedy, about zombie sheep, that shouldn't look as beautiful as it
No
does, but it
kidding.
kind of raises
Yeah.
it, elevates it to to a level
Yeah.
that yeah.
That's why the comedy, you kind of want to dismiss this, right? But with
Hmm.
the comedy and the acting for the most part is there too. It's solid enough. It's not like the best in the world, but
Hmm.
what a workshop that this helped demonstrate that they could step beyond their fantasy films that they had, but they have such a tonality and a seriousness with the effects that works pretty good, pretty damn well.
Well,
You
this
know,
movie kind of makes
it
it,
it
it
gives it
goes
that
back to their, yeah.
seriousness. That's what you were saying.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you were kind of, yeah. Because this kind of goes back to Weta Workshop's roots with Peter Jackson, because he started off doing sort of this splatter splatter stick stuff as well, with Bad Taste and Brain Dead. I would love to cover those movies in the future. I'm waiting for some reason they're just not on physical media right now, except for these overpriced old
Oh,
Blu-rays and DVDs. I want a 4K. Come on, it's Peter Jackson, for crime's sake. Get some quality releases out for them, for him. But yeah, it's sort of, yeah, like you said. I'm sorry, I kind of walked over your statement, but yeah, it kind of goes back to the roots of
right.
the kind of low budget horror, kind of horror comedy that they were doing with Peter Jackson. They went through Lord of the Rings and King Kong, and really kind of perfected their craft for these, epic fantasy stories, and then they kind of circled back to this splat stick kind of horror comedy, and use all of their experience to make this sort of low budget movie, and made it look way better than it probably should. But it really adds to this movie,
Oh,
and
I
you really
agree.
know,
Agreed.
yeah, you really know what this movie's about. With the scene of the animal rights activists, and this so much quintessential 2000s movie, because you're dealing with genetically altered sheep, because what wasn't bigger during that
Right.
time than
90s. Yeah.
cloned sheep? I forget the name of that first
Dolly.
cloned
Yep.
sheep.
Yep.
Dolly, yep.
Yep.
So that was very prescient on the minds of people at that time. And and what other animal rights activists, either you loved them or hated them, depending on where you kind of fell. It also kind of harkens it back to a much more maybe civilized time, where whether whatever side you were on, so to speak, you could still kind of poke fun of it at each other. And this movie doesn't take a side. And that's another beautiful thing about this. You have your scientists on one side, and you have your animal rights activists on the other side. They're both played for laughs. Neither one of them are the hero. Well, one of them's kind of a hero, but she has her faults as well. No one's no one's no one comes out of this movie perfect. Everybody has their faults and foibles, especially the main actor, Henry. That character, he has his struggles as well. He's not like your straightforward hero
Yeah. Nathan
of the piece.
Meester
Mhm.
or Meister. Yeah.
Meester, yep, yeah. Yeah, it's but yeah, I like the fact that yeah, there's not like a political,
No.
or any type of message in this, outside. These people are there to be laughed at, and to enjoy the comedy. But and Jonathan King, he said that he kind of came up with that. He wanted to do a horror, kind of horror comedy in the vein, because his favorite horror movies were the Peter Jackson's movies, Bad Taste, Brain Dead, but also Evil Dead. He loved American Werewolf in London. He loved Dawn of the Dead. So he really wanted to do a movie in that sort of vein. And he, at the time, he had been working on, or at least living on, one of his family farms, and he was driving uh, at night through the the countryside, and there was a sheep on the hill, and its eyes kind of glistened in the night, and he goes, "Oh, that's kind of creepy," and that kind of sparked his idea for this horror movie involving sheep, which, on its surface, and also obviously, sheep farmers. New Zealand sheep farmers. There's sort of built-in jokes there, that are already, people back in the day may have made fun of sheep farmers for one reason or another, and this movie does play into that, a lot of those in jokes, and
Right.
ideas
Tongue in cheek
are
is,
played around with.
yep,
Yeah.
that is par for the course.
Absolutely. There's a lot of fart jokes in this movie. Yeah, it's not highbrow
No.
humor, but but there is a heart to the movie. Again, there's that family dynamic kind of holds a kind of a physical center to it. You immediately get the brothers at odds. And that whole kind of family dynamic, although it gets more and more absurd as it goes along. At the heart of it is that kind of family drama that's there. That kind of holds the center of the movie. Never gets it never it keeps it on course, and you never stray too far away from the main point of the movie. Of the struggles of Henry and his brother Angus. One trying to each trying to lay claim to their family name in one way or another.
Yeah, Oldfield. Yeah.
And I gotta also talking about the characters, I gotta point out the actor Tammy Davis who plays Tucker. Kind of a standout. He's sort of like the farm manager, because Angus, the older brother that stayed on the farm, he's more on the business side of things, and Tammy, he's more of a the manager. He's really into the farm and make sure everything runs properly, and he does provide a lot of the humor to it. And I really enjoyed his character. They did say that he wanted a bit more authenticity to his character, since he's supposed to run this farm. He wanted to make sure that he kind of came across as this knowledgeable guy. So he actually would come early on the set on the farm, because they filmed on an actual farm, and he would work with the people that ran the farm, to kind of get to know the ins and outs of being a sheep farmer. And they said that by the end of the shoot, the people that ran the farm actually offered the guy a job, a job there, because he did such a good job
That's awesome.
being a sheep farmer as well as acting.
That's awesome.
But
Funny.
yeah, and watching interviews with him, he just seemed like a really nice, fun guy to hang out with. His character pretty much kind of represented who he is on as
Tucker.
a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Loyal farmhand, and Henry's childhood friend, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there was a little bit of world building. It kind of I kind of reminded me of a little bit. I don't know, a little bit like Jurassic Park sometimes. So, like, just kind of the
Mhm.
absurdity of it. Although, in both those movies, you were screaming and running at points,
Mhm.
but it was just interesting.
Yeah, it kind of takes it because, obviously, I'm sure if you're in New Zealand, you're very familiar with sheep, and if there's anyone in the audience that are watching that are from New Zealand, welcome, and definitely give us your perspective on the movie. But yeah, it's but for us Americans watching this movie, obviously being a sheep farmer, it's kind of alien to us. But it's kind of fascinating, like you said, that's a world that we're not familiar with. And it doesn't pull any punches about it. It really goes in deep on sheep farming. It really seems authentic, which they filmed on a sheep farm. A lot of the jokes are kind of built off of what you would find on a sheep farm. Like there's an offal pit where they throw the offal out, and
Oh,
and that's something that you would find on a farm. And towards the end, to get there's a delivery mechanism. There's like to get medicine to sheep. There's that shows it in the movie. There's like a sort of a spray gun that they shoot into the mouth of sheeps to give them medicine,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
that's used to an effect towards the end of the movie. they
Yeah.
explain too much of that.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, oh wow, what's that? And but that's actual utensil that, or equipment that they
I
use
was
on a
I
farm,
was wondering about
sheep
that.
farm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and fun fact,
But yeah. Mhm,
New Zealand has 40 million sheep and about 4 million humans,
mhm,
so it's about 10.
yeah,
Like it literally,
yeah,
it's kind of funny how
yeah.
that would, if you lived, work, ate, sat, and slept, swimmed and
Mhm,
slept in New Zealand,
mhm,
you would that would be a
yeah.
natural. What happens if it was zombies, but it was them and versus us?
Yeah. Yeah, that was that's one of the taglines of the movie was that there's 4 million sheep in
Right,
New Zealand and 10 million humans,
right.
and the sheep are pissed off.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And one of the interviews that the main actor Nathan Meister did, he was talking about, one of the things that tourists do when they first get to New Zealand is, they get off the boat or the plane, and they immediately, the first sheep they see, they start taking pictures. He goes, oh, hang on, you're gonna see plenty of that. you know, don't use up all your film roll on just that one.
that's funny. Yeah, that
But
yeah, the what a workshop that great gives it a level of seriousness to it, the way more than it should have.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes. It was fascinating to see them kind of put together all the fake sheep, and they're individually plugging in those hairs on the sheep. Really gives some tender loving care, making sure that the hair on the ear of the sheep is just right, so that if the light hits it, you can see the light through the ear like a natural ear. Really, really tender loving care to make everything absolutely perfect for this crazy B movie. That it's crazy. And then even the transformations, spoilers, the Tucker gets bit at one point. You don't just have zombie sheep, you have were sheep. Some of the humans turn into sheep as well. And Tucker unfortunately gets bit, and there's a transformation scene, and it's very unique, funny. It's it could have been grotesque and scary, but they do play that one for laughs as well. But is really well done. I mean, there's sort of like, as he's transforming, like half of his face is still human, half of it's sheep, and it's really cool kind of seeing that. They made it really, really very cool looking. Made it much better than
Well,
anyone else would have.
it turned it into a legitimate creature feature, that
Mhm.
happens to be hilarious,
Yeah, and it does get a little more horrific towards maybe the
Sure.
last maybe 15 minutes where it turns night. It kind of it's all within one day, and so at night things get a little bit darker. There's a the sheep circles the farmhouse for the attack, and that kind of remind me a little bit of Shaun of the Dead, even
Hmm.
where they're like trapped in the pub in Shaun of the Dead. They're kind of trapped in the farmhouse here.
Right.
It sort of has some of the similar vibes to it, but Angus, the evil brother, older brother, he has a transformation that's very reminiscent of the werewolves in werewolf of American Werewolf in London,
Right.
where the snout, it kind of stretches out, and that one's a little bit more of a kind of a star transformation, very reminiscent of a very cool transformation in American Werewolf in London. That's it's very very cool if you're into special effects and creature features and practical special effects. This movie is really good to kind of look and study at, if you're really really into that stuff, because it's even though it's a kind of a silly horror comedy, it's really technically beautiful and does a great job with the special effects.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, yeah, if they get you, they bite you, you turn into a weird sheep, which is like, this it
Mhm,
creates its own thing. But
mhm.
It is funny too how New Zealand is so tied to his sheep. Only a New Zealander would be able to think this, right? That makes perfect sense in that thing, but it is funny, and you, like you said, those transformation scenes are something to, well, there's something to watch.
Right.
I'll put that way. I'll leave it. I'll leave it
Yeah.
there. But the sheep aren't a dumb foe either, right? They're not dumb sheep.
No.
They attack randomly. They're genuinely intelligent predators. Or monsters trying to hunt these people down to convert, or to eat their
Yeah.
brains,
Yeah, and
whatever,
on the
whatever.
yeah.
You pick your thing.
Yeah, and you and the cool thing about this is you hear zombie sheep, a movie about zombie sheep, you immediately kind of smile and chuckle to yourself a little bit, because sheep, come on. But
Right.
but when you look at a sheep, they have some kind of goat-like aspects to them, and goats are scary. So sheep, the more you look at them, the creepier and scarier they kind of become. So yeah, they do have that element to them, that kind of creepy element. Once you get past the silliness of it being a sheep, being sheep, that it kind of takes it to the new level. And you were saying to me, you kind of forgot when we were talking about Alien Earth. There is a
Oh yeah.
if you're currently watching the Alien Earth TV series, there's a kind of a creepy sheep in that
Yeah.
as well,
Yep.
that that's kind of featured prominently. And so yeah, and also sheep are intelligent. Yeah, Jonathan King, I guess the interviews that you do, the newer interviews of today, he's talking about how cool it was working with sheep. But if you go back to 2007, right off of filming this movie, he talked about the struggles with filming with sheep. But from what I understand, there was a couple of sheep trainers there, and they had I think 20 or 40 trained sheep. There's like 20 that are like really good, and then they had 40 of them. And they said they said basically sheep are like humans. You have some really smart humans, but you also have some really stupid ones. So yeah, and it's same with sheep. They all have their own kind of personalities. But the cool thing about it is there's in none of it's CGI. There's maybe very minimal CGI, if any, in this movie. So a lot of what the sheep are doing, if it's not a prosthetic sheep or dummy sheep, it's actual sheep. And they said that if basically sheep kind of they kind of follow people, so or follow other sheep. And so if you have those trained sheep, if you tell them where to go, all the other sheep are going to go that
Hmm.
way. So very easy kind of to direct them. There's a scene where all these zombie sheep are on a hill and they come running down. Very cool kind of a effect, but yeah, they could do that because they could get those trained ones to do it, and then the others will follow. And there's 40 million sheep on the in New Zealand, so
Right.
it wasn't like they had to pay a whole. It wasn't difficult to get a 800 sheep on the set, on the farm to run around because they were already there.
Yeah, it worked out very well. It sounds like.
Yeah, no. And there was one in Angus, he was trying to you've got your scientist, he had a scientist trying to create maybe the perfect sheep, and at one point that perfect sheep is revealed. She's this beautiful white sheep, very very standout. I think you were showing a picture of her earlier. But from the interviews, from what I understand, that sheep was kind of a prima donna there on the set. She really enjoyed being pampered and
Yes,
singled out. She kind of looked down on the other sheep during the filming,
that's
and a lot of times she didn't want to do exactly what they wanted her to do.
funny.
She was kind of, like I said, a prima donna on the set, uh, and she was kind of miffed after the filming, and she wasn't as special as she thought she was after the movie was done. But but yeah, there was special care done with her, and yeah, there's sort of a special relationship between her and Angus that we won't get into, but
Well, we'll just leave it at that. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So I think we're kind of coming up here around the final bleat.
Bleed, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I was kind of after watching this, I was kind of interested circling back to Jonathan King as a director, and I was kind of curious if he had done anything else. And he did a couple other movies in the 2000s, The Tattooist and I think Under the Mountain. And so yeah, I was kind of curious about circling back and checking out those, but I haven't. This is the only movie I've seen of his. But yeah, he seems like an interesting guy. And as of last year, he said that he's planning on a sequel to this movie. So it seems like every time we cover a movie, I read that there's a sequel being planned for that movie,
Right.
even though no matter how old the movie is, there's like a either a sequel or a TV series or a remake TV series on the works for the movie. We kind of live in an interesting time where these movies that didn't get the love that they probably should have got back in the day are getting that love now in the way of maybe a sequel or a beautiful 4K release. Like I said, it's an interesting time where a movie like Black Sheep gets this really beautiful 4K box from Umbrella. It's just really crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see a Black Sheep 2
That would
sequel.
be interesting. Well, that's
Mhm.
the you don't need a big massive budget. You don't need
Right.
A-list
Yeah.
actors, A-list stars. You just need commitment to a really crazy premise that maybe isn't so crazy when if you live in New Zealand, which is probably why it took it a year to come over here. No doubt, but no, very interesting, cool classic. Obviously, newer one. Um,
Mhm.
it is there is something that is there's something to be said for I think just about everybody would agree that killer sheep are ridiculous and terrifying. Or could be terrifying.
Ridiculously terrifying.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And funny.
Sheer terror.
And funny too, I should say. Like.
And funny. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. No. I.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those movies that it kind of hits my sweet spot. I love horror comedies. I love horror. I love comedy, and if you can mix them both in a well put together movie, you got something. And these horror comedies, these splat sticks, are very unique to New Zealand. New Zealand, I don't know if it's Peter Jackson's influence or what, but most of their horror movies are horror comedies, and that's sort of my sweet spot. This is maybe not the best horror comedy, but it's definitely not the worst. It's like I said, it's there's a lot of love that I have for this movie. Like I said, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's one of those that if it comes up, I really want. And it gets in my mind. I have to watch it again.
Yeah, and I don't want to make out like it didn't have any it did have its good share of gore. That you earn it as you go through too. As it goes through, but it's still funny, unique,
Yeah.
and I'd
Yep.
say this is one of the more fun ones too. I agree with you. Like I like it when you can have a little bit of fun and it's not so much like hit you over the head with like nothing but you know uh,
Yeah.
never ending gore, or violence or something in between.
Right.
This
Right. And the main character Henry, he does go through an emotional story arc in this. He kind of deals with his with his grief and his trauma that he had as a child. He goes through in
That's
maybe a
okay.
comedic way. But yeah, his brother kind of terrifies him early on that's paired with his father's death of sheep, and yeah, he kind of goes through it. Yeah, so this is uniquely Henry's worst nightmare that happens on this farm, and and we kind of go through it with him, and who hasn't had some grief or some trauma that they needed to work through, and we can kind of work through it together with Henry.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't have too much more to say. Do you have anything any other gems, Mister?
Let's see. I think not. Like I said, for the most part, it got good reviews. It's sort of like it was an instant hit for horror fans at horror conventions. That's where they kind of promoted it, and it came to those in open arms. For the most part, horror fans are love horror comedies. If you do it right, they're going to be happy with it. And this is one of those movies that just kind of hits that sweet spot. How can you be mad at a zombie sheep? How are you gonna hate on it? So no, it's got a. I wish that more people knew about it. I think a lot of people would enjoy this movie. So hopefully our a little discussion here puts it out there, and maybe more people will
Right.
talk about it. I know our pool isn't very large, but maybe other people will watch this and maybe talk about it more, and get it out there. Let show Black Sheep some love, and yeah. And if you love this movie, I couldn't. Yeah, I recommend that 4K box set. Again, Black Sheep is very cool to hold. I got to get a special protector for this box because again it's made of wool or a little faux sheep. So I hate to get this to get dirty and whatnot. So but yeah, my first world troubles. But yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Was a good one to see. And again, it's wide out there. I think it's also available on YouTube
Mhm.
too. But anywhere you
Yeah.
are, you be able to find it for sure. But I think we'll wrap it up here. And
Yep. I
I was
think
gonna
so.
say I've been Mike.
And I'm Tom. And watch out for those zombie sheep out there.
Absolutely, yeah. And real quick, I will run through the thing. You can catch us on our website, FirstLastNerdom.com. Awesome if you do. No big deal if you don't. But if you want to check us out and watch something, our home base is also on YouTube at First Last Nerdom. And you can see many of Tom's ever growing physical media collection as well. And then we also are on Reddit, where we get 50-50 view if we're going to get kicked in the nuts or if we're going to get patted on the back. We don't quite know. You can
Get the golden shears to the nuts, but yeah.
right, yeah. Of course, Tom is at First Last Nerdom. I'm at also at ApeIt_Ink. And with that, I think I'm gonna bring us to a close here tonight. And we'll leave the light on for you, and you'll have to check
Mhm.
out what we'll have next week. Be very very cool. But with that, I've been Mike.
I'm Tom. Get your mint sauce out. Those zombie sheeps. That's their holy water.
Bad.